was there and she said, "Can't we just drone this guy?"
Oh my gosh.
All right, hold on. Here's a quote. Here's what Biden said. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we've established a liberal world order. And that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it, and we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. They then go on to say several people online took Biden using the phrase New World Order to confirm the existence of the aforementioned conspiracy theory. Here's what they do. Here's what the media is doing. Powerful world leaders like Clinton, George H.W. Bush, even Hillary Clinton, they've all said there will be a new world order. Now, for most people, they think that means there's going to be a global system, a judicial system or legal system, because the Council on Foreign Relations publicly states that's what their intention is with the liberal world order. They said after World War II, to prevent war, various, powerful institutions came together and creating, international organizations and treaties to prevent this from ever happening again. And now there's going to be a new version of that. That's it. That's all it means. So the media will push the most insane and absurd version of the conspiracy so they can try and discredit what Joe Biden just outright said, that in a secure meeting, he was told this.
But I think there's also, and it's, to go back to the headline of the show tonight, there's something even deeper that Biden is getting at, because it's not just that he's talking about setting up a new version of the world order. He's essentially describing the fourth turning. So that means the president of the United States just came out and said that he was briefed by the top levels of our military that we are in a fourth turning. Is that not what he just said?
That's exactly.
Yep.
Look, he didn't say literally the fourth turning, but you're right.
That's
the
essentially what
there.
he's getting at, right?
So the only conclusion.
So clearly they're reading some Strauss-Howe, and this
He
is...
said four generations.
No. That's too much. It's obvious they're watching Timcast Star.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
yeah.
I think they actually, some people at the White House are, because when we were watching Biden's campaign speech, it was the State of the Union, but he didn't really give a State of the Union. I called it a campaign speech.
Right.
We were like, why are they so tight on Biden? And then they pulled out the camera.
No.
Well-
And they're like, I think they're watching. And then they went back in on his face. I'm like, thanks, guys.
Well, this is an administration that is literally working right now on a global minimum corporate tax, right? And so it's not as though there's something very literal happening when you say new world order. And that's why the conversation about a new world order is immensely frustrating, because there's a literal meaning to the term new world order that has been explicit among global leaders for forever. And every once in a while they slip up and say a buzzword that's associated with conspiracy theories. But that's what's frustrating about the dismissal of this as a conspiracy theory, is that, like, listen, we have an IMF, we have a World Bank, we have a United Nations, we're working on a global minimum tax right now. This stuff is pretty much out in the open, and when you have a slip from the President of the United States like this, even from an administration that would avoid sort of veering into that territory, it's extremely telling. And it's not even as though, to the point about a fourth turning, that's not even in the Biden consciousness. He's just talking about what his job is, which is to be friends with Boris Johnson and Angela Merkel and all of these people, and to have control at their fingertips.
Well, I think it's
real
both.
quick.
I do think it's both, though, because he talks about the 60 million dying and that it's this cycle that happens every 3 to 4 generations. So the preface of it is where he's talking about the fourth turning, and that this leads to setting up a new version of that. But they always have to say rules-based order, so they can't say new world order.
Who wants to read what website that is? What organization that website is?
I'll do
The
it.
World Economic Forum.
It's the World Economic Forum.
Oh, wow.
Can you pull up the article?
Yeah, here we go.
So it's from the World Economic Forum. Who wants to read?
my.
Who wants to read the title?
136 countries have agreed to a global minimum tax rate. Here's what it means.
That's a great
Okay.
voice, Jack. I like that.
So the World Economic Forum is citing Reuters. But clearly, the reason I pull this up is the World Economic Forum is very much interested in a lot of this global policy, new world order stuff. The Council on Foreign, you know what? Let me do this. Let's read a little bit here. They said the countries behind the global minimum tax rate together account for over 90% of the global economy. So that is to say, 90% of the global economy are agreeing to a global corporate minimum tax rate.
Which means they're agreeing to the infrastructure to support and enforce a global minimum tax rate. So it's
Yep.
not just that you can make this argument that, like, listen, if we were all on an even playing field, things would make more sense economically. No, they're creating an infrastructure to enforce a global minimum tax rate.
Right. Now check this out. This is the Council on Foreign Relations website. NewsGuard certified, 100 out of 100.
Wow.
Is it a conspiracy theory when the Council on Foreign Relations says, what is the liberal world order? And they literally say, world leaders created a series of international organizations and agreements to promote global cooperation on issues including security, trade, health, and monetary policy. The U.S. has championed this system known as the liberal world order for the past 75 years. During this time, the world has enjoyed unprecedented peace and prosperity. I just got to pause real quick.
Especially the troops in Vietnam, man.
and
They've had a
prosperity for
really
75
peaceful time in the
years.
jungle. Yeah.
Korea.
Yeah, that was also very peaceful.
The bombing of
I
Belgrade.
think kicking the doors in Iraq was very peaceful for those soldiers.
Rwanda. Peaceful Rwanda.
You know what it is? It's very Jen Psakian. It's like they're bragging about the thing they've done, but it's been an unmitigated failure across the board.
But also, it doesn't exist.
Right.
Right? It's
Right,
like they're
right,
bragging
right.
about it, but no.
Maybe
We've created
This
world
is-
peace
So,
and world order.
Michael Anton actually has a great formulation for what this is, and he calls it the celebration parallax. And so the celebration parallax means when they talk about it, it is good and laudatory. But if anyone mentions it in a critical sense, not only are they wrong, but also the thing they're discussing doesn't exist.
Right.
The New World Order is amazing and just so great, and I'm really excited for Klaus Schwab and all that stuff.
feels like
now
New
it's
World
now
I can't wait to
chaos,
not
man.
own anything because I'm going to be so happy.
But this is what's interesting is that we lose, and I read about this recently, that we have this nuclear order, and nuclear technology is literally younger than some people walking this earth, and it is the most dramatic technological advancement that has ever happened in the history of humanity, and it's happened over the course of people's lifetimes. Like, it has happened that quickly, and we take for granted how dramatically it changed the way that we operate. And so the New World Order is actually really new. It's really new, and it's something that, like, when you have all this technology at your fingertips, of course the leaders of the United States, of course the leaders of all of these different countries are going to want to have the power concentrated at their fingertips because it's so powerful, and because they have this sort of technological ability to do it now, that they can concentrate power and rule over everyone because they're terrified of what would happen if they didn't.
What I'm wondering is, are the governments making concessions with these corporations? Like, they're like, the writing's on the wall, the corporations are taking over, let's just intercede with them instead of try and resist. Like, you said that they're all working together to
They're the
create a
same.
global tax rate. Like, is that...
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just like the governments have given up and they're like, hey, corporations are coming, Klaus Schwab's right, corporate governance.
Oh, I totally think so. I think they're the same. I mean, Trump's first Secretary of State was Rex Tillerson. Like, he was like literally the CEO of Exxon. And people, it's like mind-boggling to me that people forget that. But I think they're basically the same at this point.
I just like to point out that the Council on Foreign Relations basically describes the New World Order conspiracy theory as something that's already happened. Like, that's the weird thing.
For 75 years.
For 75 years, there has been a liberal world economic order where world leaders created a series of international organizations and agreements to promote global cooperation on issues including security, trade, health, and monetary policy. I said it fast. There you go. Anyway, the point is, now that Biden is like,
I received a terminal diagnosis. Banks, you are standing in my brain.
How did you get here?
Invited.
This Operation Paperclip after World War II, SHIELD recruited German scientists with strategic value.
Thought I could help their cause. I also helped my own.
Hydra died with the Red Skull.
Cut off one head. Two more shall take its place.
Prove it.
Accessing archive. Hydra was founded on the belief that humanity could not be trusted with its own freedom. What we did not realize was that if you try to take that freedom, they resist. The war taught us much. Humanity needed to surrender its freedom willingly. After the war, SHIELD was founded, and I was recruited. The new Hydra grew, a beautiful parasite inside SHIELD. For 70 years, Hydra has been secretly feeding crisis, reaping war. And when history did not cooperate, history was changed.
That's impossible. SHIELD would have stopped you.
Accidents will happen. Hydra created a world so chaotic that humanity is finally ready to sacrifice its freedom to gain its security. Once the purification process is complete, Hydra's new world order will arise. We won, Captain. Your death amounts to the same as your life. A zero sum.